Hi YouTube, my name's Sean Connors and this is Outsiders. Welcome back. Today we're going to be reviewing 4th edition D&D and I have it in front of me here. It originally came out in this collection set that I bought when the books first came out. It's been some time actually. A few people have asked me why I haven't reviewed this game up until this point, considering that Wizards of the Coast are currently the owners of the D&D licence. And of course I was raised and brought up with D&D, why would I not be reviewing this to this point? Well, I've left it for a reason to this point, and for that reason I'm just going to give a quick piece of advice. Anybody that currently plays D&D 4th edition and likes it, anybody that was involved in creating it, making it, or perhaps has some love or time invested in this system, please switch off now. Now that they've gone, it's great, I can be really honest about this. Is this D&D? Well, it's just a bit like me owning a Porsche, to be honest with you, without an engine. It would be like, I feel as if I spent about 50 quid UK money to buy these when they first came out, and I feel as if somebody's just walked in this room right now, hit me over the head and taken that 50 quid and mugged me. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, going to be the worst review I've ever seen. I know D&D in all its formats, I've got to be honest, I need to give some history here. I played it when it was in its red boxes, I bought all the box, the expert box, and then eventually, you know, we had the hardcore books and all that sort of stuff came out. And D&D for a long time, right the way up to the stuff that I like, 3.5, has always clearly been D&D, irrespective of who was producing it, making it, owned it, whatever, it was still Dungeons and Dragons. And for that, I was always eternally grateful. Is this Dungeons and Dragons? Well, the fact it's got the name on, that's the only reason it's called Dungeons and Dragons, but it is very much removed from all previous predecessors. Now, I can see the angle the producers and the publishers, etc., and the overall production team were trying to do here. I mean, when I was told about this game coming out, they said, and I saw all the seminar reviews, some of them are on YouTube actually, about that this game was going to be launched, there was going to be this DSI site that was going to be brought into being to support the game, to give downloads and all that sort of stuff, and that is in place, but they did say that it would have this virtual table, so a DM could go on, create his own scenarios and get people from all over the world playing them. Now, I don't know about you, but that didn't really appeal to me, but it was one of the premises that they built this game on. And where I'm going to with this is very simple. When you start examining these books, and there's a lot of nice stuff in here, you know, and it's beautifully, I have to say, there again, you know, nearly every review I've had so far, every book is colour plated, they're very well laid out, you know, there's very, very little to fault the way that this is presented. There's certainly, they've learnt from some stuff from previous editions. But anyway, getting to the point. What they've done with the system is fairly simple. To get to a point where you can actually take this game online meant that you had to strip away a lot of stuff. And as well, Wizards were behind because, of course, you know, World of Warcraft, which has been in place for quite some time, really is the owners of the online market in terms of that side of the business. Now, as I've always said, I'm a traditionalist, I'm a pen and paper person. So I was intrigued to see whether they would be able to take this online, and the only way you could do it is to strip away all the versatility magic in the game, because you can imagine, can't you, that if you want to have a wizard that can turn invisible, fly, teleport, all these various things, you can't have that in a game where you know, it's going to be taken online. Those things have to be stripped away, and you've got to start with a completely fresh premise. It's a tragedy. Tragedy is the word, really. It's an absolute disaster, because what you're left with is very stripped down. Now, I'm not saying this because, you know, I've not played it. We tried this game. We are an experienced group of players. We gave it the best shot that we could for some period of time. And what we came up with was that this game actually is incredibly vanilla, plays very poorly, and overall was, without a shadow of a doubt, it was really difficult writing for this system. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because when you're writing for high fantasy games, and I'm a big fantasy lover, don't get me wrong, there are certain sci-fi games which I'm going to come on to, and some other genres that I really like. But when you're writing for high fantasy, one of the beautiful things about it is because it tends to make and create the best campaigns, because you have magical abilities that you can sort of say the players don't necessarily need to rely on their skills to do things, to achieve them. Because I don't know about you, but you know, trying to write stories where it's not guaranteed that you get in, and don't even get me started in this system. They've got a thing called a success system, for generating successes for skills and everything. I've read it about 35 times. I still don't understand it. I've gone onto their website and started looking up bits about skills and stuff, and it was just all like, oh god, convoluted. You know what the worst thing is about this, if I'm being honest right now? And this only dawned on me when I started looking around. If you went out now to buy these books, you could still buy them. They're out of date. They're already bringing out Player's Handbooks 2 and 3, which sort of these books are now superfluous. You need the other books to make it work. How many books do you need to make this game function? And they haven't even created the online content that they promised. They've got bits on there to create characters. I don't care. I mean, I don't know about you, but a player will have a character in his image. He doesn't need to be shown an image on a computer screen to be confident with it. Yeah, it's nice. It's really good. Very nice support. But it's not everything. We talked about what Paizo had done. They've taken the bolt-on rules of 3.5 and created their own system, Pathfinder Games, and why that was so strong. This is just absolutely abysmal. I'm not going to waste any of your time on it, to be honest with you. I mean, there's only a few things that... this is not a system for beginners. Now, one of the things as well that they said, that I'd love to say it is this is a system for beginners. This is a system that makes preparation a lot easier for referees. I've never heard of anything so nonsense in my life. It really doesn't do any of those things. Easier for referees to prepare? I don't think so. I mean, characters in this, NPCs, can have at-will abilities. They can have daily, per encounter abilities. There's a lot of abilities. Okay, it's not, there's not much choice in them, but when every single one of your NPCs can have those abilities, that's a lot of stuff that can be happening on any given round. And the players have only got some of their abilities once per encounter, once a day. They're going to need them far more than the enemy. So I just don't even want to get started with this. This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm disappointed about it from Wizards. They've totally taken what is the foundation of the hobby and stripped it apart. Now, I think one of the biggest telling things is when we talk about this DSI thing, I'm no expert, but one thing I can tell you is that at the height of D&D's popularity, and I'm not talking about going back into the 80s and all that sort of thing, I'm talking about just before we've had this economic downturn, it was calculated there were about 3 million people worldwide playing this game. Okay? Now, I don't know currently what the estimates are that are currently playing Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, but what I can tell you that is very, very telling about this and sums up everything for me here in the UK, go onto anybody's forum sites, go to shops, forums, look around UK role players, websites, that sort of thing, and tell me how many people are playing 4th edition D&D. It is not many, and that is incredibly telling. And DSI themselves, this downloadable content that people have to subscribe for a year in advance to, have got 25,000 people subscribed. What, from 3 million? That's a travesty. That tells you everything you need to know. They've had all this time and they've only got 25,000 people to subscribe. Not good, is the words I'd use. You can already tell that what's going to happen with D&D is it's already, without a doubt, if you look at Christmas time, I know that they already sacked away quite a few people from their Wizards of the Coast side, which is understandable. They do that every Christmas, but it was pretty obvious most of them were targeted around about 4th edition system. I think already preparation is underway for 5th edition. It's no surprise to me. And they're going to have to go backwards because the only hope they've got for salvaging this line is to do that before other people inroad on their fan base completely and take it away from them. So, my reviews are always out of 4, as you know, and how am I going to score this? I'm going to give it a kind 1. 1 because it is well produced. They're very balanced, but balance really is not my favourite thing. And basically, overall, really, that just about sums up where Wizards of the Coast... Hello again, Bubbles. Wizards of the Coast is. So, from myself, Sean Connors, this has been Outsiders. Until the next time, take care and happy gaming.